where Steve did a road trip from Los Angeles. So we're going to give you two different ideas of how to go. This is the city of Gillette. It's approximately the same size as Oshkosh. I've been told there are even more hotel rooms in Gillette than there are in Oshkosh. The major difference between Gillette and Oshkosh is where in Oshkosh you had Fond du Lac, you had Neenah, Appleton, Green Bay, all these surrounding communities. In Gillette, that's all there is for 100 miles in any direction. So you need to plan a little bit better going to Gillette than to Oshkosh. This is the Camplex facility where the Camporee will be held, and it's an awesome facility. We had an opportunity to go through there and visit their facility. That's what it looks, the aerial view of the facility. You notice all the green grass around. The green area is where we camp, and the buildings in the middle are where all of the events. Now, you may recall the hangars at Oshkosh. Remember how nice and hot they were in August? Well, the nice thing about the facilities here is they are air conditioned and they have flush toilets.
Yay!
Never thought in my life I would get a donation for mentioning flush toilets in church. This is a first for everyone. So here is an idea of the campsite. Now they haven't decided what the campsite was, but we have been told possibly Pacific Union might have one in the top left corner. We'll wait and see for an official announcement on that. But here are some of the buildings. As you see, they're very modern. They're very nice. This was Pastor Ron at the walkthrough back in August. Had a wonderful day. This is their offices. They're a Camplex. And my impression is the city and the county are bending over backwards to accommodate the Pathfinders. As a matter of fact, the Campbell County Fair, their county fair, was scheduled to be the same week as our Camporee. They moved the dates of their county fair to accommodate us.
Wow.
This is the Wyoming Center where a number of activities will be held. Again, air-conditioned buildings. Very nice, spacious areas, well-lit. So if you think of what took place inside the hangars, these are some of the buildings that will take place. Very nice facilities. And the entire city is just looking forward to the Pathfinders coming and enjoying their facilities. This was the walkthrough. This was the exhibit area that had compressed dirt. You could probably use this for marching or drilling. Now these are what some of the campsites look like. A number of the campsites have electric and water. Not all of them, but many of them do. It's nice and flat. Now, you got to remember you're on the prairie, and it can get really windy there. We were there in August. It was a nice warm day. It was chilly at night, and it got a little bit windy. One day I was taking some pictures. I was on a street corner, and I was wearing a baseball cap, and the next thing I knew, it was in the middle of the street. So this is what the camping facility, a lot of nice, flat, grassy areas. It should do us really well. The thing that, coming from Los Angeles, it was really nice to see the wildlife late in the afternoon. The antelope, that was a breathtaking experience. Here's the backside of the facility. This is the area where they are planning to have the evening meeting. later. Nice flat field. These are some of the facilities that have been made available to us. If you have the Camperme wristband, you can take a shuttle to the sports facility. It was built jointly by the school district and the county, and they are making these facilities available to the Pathfinders. Very nice sports facilities. There's an indoor track and tennis courts. Your armband will get you admission into the facility. Very nice.
There's nothing around.
Climbing walls.
100 yards, 100 miles away, nothing else around.
Yeah, I know. Did you see how flat and empty?
We got to plan accordingly.
Right.
Basketball
Also,
courts,
stores are
basketball
far.
courts.
Oh, wow. There's no Walmart.
Swimming pools.
Well, I'm assuming there must be a Walmart, but it's only one. It's like you can't go to
Oh, no.
other...
Can you imagine how many?
And even an indoor water.
Yeah, you have to plan.
You got to remember that Wyoming is covered with snow for about 6 months of the year.
Oh, it is. I didn't know that.
This also will be made available to the Pathfinders just with your wristband. These are some beautiful facilities. This is the Pronghorn Center at the college. And this is the basketball court that they will be doing the 3-on-3 basketball tournaments. Very beautiful facility. The day we were there, they had just lacquered the floor. And that's why it's so shiny. But it's a beautiful facility. And they have outdoor soccer fields.
Yes.
That are available. And they also have football, soccer, and baseball fields that the city has available for our use. So a lot of different options in the city of Gillette. This is the downtown portion of Gillette. Kind of reminds me of Mayberry. Those of you that remember the old Andy Griffith show. It's the main street in town.
Uh-huh.
They have an awesome ice cream shop that I understand they're going to be on site and selling ice cream. And those that are non-dairy, they also have some non-dairy options that were pretty good. Now, the biggest challenge is going to be food. So you're going to have to plan ahead as far as your food. Okay, there are a number of markets in town. There's the Smith's Food King, there's Walmart.
There's Walmart.
Pastor Ron has told us that they have already contacted the Walmart in Oshkosh to know what kind of items to stock and the type of things that the Pathfinders need to buy. There's an Albertsons, there's a local market, there's a couple others. There's a very nice hospital in town. There's even an Adventist church. And this is the local airport, regional airport. It's about the size of the Appleton Airport. You can fly in, United flies in. You can also fly into Denver and to Casper, Wyoming. And this is the airport. And there are 2 laundromats that I found. And that's usually where I meet most of the people at the laundromats, because everybody has to eventually visit a laundromat. So that is a quick view of what is in Gillette, Wyoming. I'm going to ask Steve Clement if he would come up this time. Steve has some very interesting ideas on not only how to get to Gillette, but how to take in some important road trips. So Steve, come on up.
So, I'm going to call this Mr. C's exciting vacation trip. My dream trip, Mr. C's dream trip, going to Oshkosh.
Not Oshkosh, it's Gillette.
So, go the other direction. Because that's, okay, there we go. So, this is showing only part of it from Los Angeles through 4 or 5 4 national parks.
Oh, national park.
I love visiting national parks. And
And we have our
here's
pass already.
my
Oh wait,
dream trip.
no, it's
And
not. Oh,
kids, think of it this way.
we have to buy it again.
It's
The
only
following
about
year,
6 or 7
Yeah,
hours
oh,
to
that's
Zion
right.
National Park,
2004.
where
We used it again.
you can see
We went to
fantastic
Bryce Canyon.
mountains.
Good.
You know, for the ski trip.
Tram system, hikes galore. You can drive straight through it. There's an amazing road system there, winding road, up the canyons and through tunnels. You see amazing rock formations. There's a window in the tunnel looking out, and this is going through the tunnel, looking out the door, coming out the other side. Just beyond the park, you can see St. George on the far side, and where it says 3 hours and a half. Between there's a lot of great camping sites, kids. And I would love to camp there and spend the day in Zion National Park, maybe Sunday afternoon, Monday morning, and then drive on down to the Grand Canyon. The north rim of the Grand Canyon is so amazing. It's about 1,000 feet higher than the south rim. How many have been to the south rim? Only a few. It's flat, it's dry. The north rim is mountains. It's trees. It's a little cooler. Check out a donkey named Bridie. There's a neat story about him. And then there's a trail just outside the lodge. It took us, Mrs. C and I, about an hour to walk it at leisure. And so many neat sights. We loved going through and walking this area. You can even get a mule ride. In fact, you'll have to save up your money for something like this because it costs about $100 a person. But for 3 hours to go down into the canyon or ride the top, amazing. Now I do have to warn you, you'll stretch yourself a little bit. I was doing the splits when I was riding my horse. But, so let's say we get down there Monday afternoon and spend Monday morning, most of Monday there, and drive on up to Bryce National Park. It's about a 6-hour drive. And arrive at Bryce National Park. Juan Gomez and I, when we drove from Los Angeles to Gillette, it took us it's about a 20-hour drive, but we did it in 2 days because we wanted to stop. We drove through Zion. We then saw Bryce National Park. There's so many neat things to see, kids, about Zion, Bryce. Every national park is amazing. Look at these canyons. There's natural bridges. Even crows who like to chat with us and have their convocation. Now, if you look closely around the rim of this particular canyon, there's a trail from where I took this picture going on around. It would take you probably a couple of hours to walk it. I didn't have time to do it, but I'd love to do that with you guys. From Bryce, it's going to take a bit to go to the next place. Probably one of my favorite places in the world, Yellowstone National Park. Kids, you got to tell your directors you want to spend 2 to 3 days there. That park is that big, it's well worth it. En route, just to the south of the Great Yellowstone National Park are the Grand Tetons, amazing area. But Yellowstone National Park, you can see it there's a circle that goes around, and just where the road comes up from the south and turns left, that's where the Old Faithful is. I could spend a day there. And by the way, this young man who was a Pathfinder when I went on this trip a few years ago is now a pastor in Culver City. So But this particular area, Old Faithful, I could spend days there. There's not only Old Faithful, but there's a dozen other geysers that go off at different times, and they post the times. And you want to watch a number of them. Going on around to the left, there's some paint pots. There's other areas. Gorgeous colors. I had so much fun looking at these. Be aware, it's sulfur. So guess what sulfur smells like?
Farts.
Heading on up clear to the north end, you have the North Gate and the 45th parallel, which means you're halfway between the equator and the North Pole. And this looks like a neat waterfall, doesn't it?
Yeah.
It's rock.
That's right.
That's on the north end. Coming on around, coming back down from the very top down to Artist Point. Amazing. I call it the Grand Canyon of the Yellowstone, or, well, what do I say? Gorgeous. Oh, and there's animals galore. You and your club will stop almost every time you see animals. This is how close they are. Isn't that cool?
Ooh.
And I won't guarantee it, but I saw a bear. Not everyone will. So, continuing from there, Yellowstone is at the top. It's about 5 or 6 hours over to Gillette. So, do you think you could enjoy a week there doing this?
Yeah.
I think so. Now, let's say your director wants to do it a different way than this. Let's think about a different variation. From Los Angeles up to Zion and Bryce, but then rather than heading straight up toward Yellowstone, you can continue on to Capitol Reefs, Arches National Park, where you see, again, different types of stone formations. Look at this. Amazing, isn't it? I love these arches. Oh, by the way, if you look carefully, Juan's in that picture. Colorado National Monument. These are national parks. Gorgeous. Black Canyon of the National. Isn't that amazing? And you see all those red dots there? Most of those are passes through the Rocky Mountains. Gorgeous country. Now, if you're going this way, you've got to stop at something called Independence Rock. You'll look at it and say, what is it? Just a little mound. Compared to the Rockies, it's nothing. But for the pioneers who came west, this is the halfway point. It took them from early spring till about July 4 to arrive here. Why do you think it got its name? Something about July 4. Most of them would aim to arrive here by July 4. And guess what? You can climb it. You can climb on top, and what I loved about it was some of the old pioneers carved their names in the rock. Go up and discover them. I believe that's 1850 down the bottom. And up in the top right, I think it's 1860. By the way, anyone recognize what this little thing is? Ever seen one of those? Probably not. That's a cattle guard. You and I can walk across it. The cattle with their narrow feet, it keeps the cattle from going into the roads. Guess what I saw en route? Pathfinders.
Right.
Coming into Gillette from driving, this is what you see in the distance, and there's the campsite site, which Pastor Kevin shared with us. So, this is Mr. C's dream trip. Any of you interested in trying to take something like this? Are you? Awesome. I like that. But I'm going to call a good friend of mine, Angelica Preciado, from the Spanish American Church. I discovered Angelica and I have something in common. We like pin trading.
Oh, pin trading.
Very much so.
Yes, pin trading.
So, Angelica, can you share with us a little bit about your pin trading.
Good morning, everyone. Happy Sabbath. I'm so glad to be here on this fine day, even though it's a bit chilly, but guess what? It's been a long time since we've been here. Thank you for inviting me over. Well, I love to pin trade. Who here loves to pin trade? Great. Who here has never pin traded? Oh my goodness, I'm glad you're here. So listen up, guys. I'm so excited because as you can see, right above, I'm going to go a little bit fast. I'm a bit nervous. These are just a few of the pins that you will see when you go to any of the North American Division / International Camporees. You could probably also see this at the union level camporees. Guess what? When you come prepared with your pins, you are getting ready to meet new friends. Get to see people from different parts of our world, but also from different parts of our union as well as from all over the nation. Hello, how are you? Are you pin trading today? As simple as that. And that's all it takes. Just a simple hello, how are you? Maybe hey, I'm from Southern California, what about you? And if you want to be more specific, I'm from Spanish American, to the right side of White Memorial. You know, that's all it takes, and you'll be amazed just how many wonderful people you will come across from everywhere. So today I have a quick story. My first camporee experience was at the 2009 Courage to Stand camporee. Who went to that one? That was a long time ago. That was my first experience. So when I went there, thank you. Sorry. All right, so when I went there, I had already been trading for several days. It was the start of the evening program. For those that do not know, we have to set our chairs or our tarps on the floor so we can get ready for the evening program. And I have brought my cap, right? It looks somewhat like this one here. And it was covered with pins because I like to wear them on my cap. And I noticed a young gentleman sitting behind me. He must have been a friend from the friend class to Pathfinders. I noticed that he kept staring at me, well, warm up my cap, right? And I noticed he didn't have any pins. In fact, no one in his club had any pins. I saw that he kept twirling and moving his fingers at things. And I asked him, hello, young man, what do you have in your hand? He pulls it out, and then he shows me the tiniest little thing I had ever seen. A little golden peanut. Just a tiny little thing. It didn't say Oshkosh Camporee. It didn't say Courage to Stand of 2009. It didn't even have the name of his club. I saw it, and then I looked at him. I noticed that you've been looking at my pins. Would you like to trade with me? He looked at me puzzled and he said, well, this is all I have. It's not much of a pin. It's not even a club pin. And I said, well, what matters is that if I like your pin and you happen to like one of mine, that's all it takes, young man. Would you like to trade? He said, sure. I handed him one of my pins and he gave me this tiny little thing the size of my fingernail, pinky fingernail. And I said, you know what? Thank you for trading. May God bless you and your club. And I put it right on my cap. And guess what? To this very day, it's still one of my favorite pins. And guess what? There's a lot more out there. So I need you guys to feel as excited as I am. I know we're going to be having a mini camporee coming up real soon. I'm pretty sure we're going to be pin trading there. I'll be there. And I'm going to also be up in Believe the Promise Camporee in 2024. I'll be there and I would love to pin trade with you.
So Angelica, how many camporees have you been to?
International Camporees.
The international camporees.
The 2009 was my first, followed by Forever Faithful 2014, followed by Chosen 2019, and I've already signed up for the 2024 Believe the Promise.
Awesome, you and me both. You and I then have been to all of the camporees in Oshkosh, haven't we? 2009 was the first one, wasn't it?
Actually, 2004. I'm biased.
2004.
I missed that.
Okay, 2004. So, pin trading, it takes a little bit. And in fact, you did something for me this morning. You shared with me a pin that you had made.
Yes.
I so appreciate it. Tell me about it.
So basically, I produced this pin last 2021. It's still within the realm of, it's 2.5 years before the camp break. It says 3 years until. So I've got 2 extra pins, and I really, Steven, I really want to share this with the Pathfinders, maybe with a boy, maybe with a girl. Can you help me pick a boy and a girl? They can come to the front.
Who would love a pin? Who would love a pin?
Maybe someone from back there, maybe someone from
Stand
below.
up, Caleb, stand
Who would love
up.
a pin?
Go ahead and pick.
Okay. Pastor Molina, would you go find one person? Yeah. Oh. Pastor Ron, would you go find a person? Each of you go a different direction.
Just to add a little more, it's exactly 2.4 more years before the camp week. So guys, get excited like I am excited. And I'm no longer a Pathfinder teenager. I'm suddenly a counselor and a civil director. If I'm excited,
It's gonna be easier.
so will you.
Yeah, Pastor Rocky is wiser than I. I'm gonna pick a girl who was baptized on February, in the month of February, any year. Who was baptized in the month of February?
Me.
Okay. That's the boy, I think. Okay. And you, please come here. Okay. She was baptized in the month of February. All right, congratulations. So,
Thank you,
Right
Pastor.
hand man. What is your name? Well, I hope you enjoy the pin, and hopefully that pin will excite you to go to our next camp. God bless you. Hi, Anita. What is your name? Melanie, you look familiar. Is your mother Vanessa? Oh, that's wonderful. Well, Melanie, here's a pin for you. May God bless you, and I hope you do go to the camp parade. Thank you.
Thank you. So, Angelica, we're going to be starting a contest for pin trading. And what's the name of our camporee?
Southern California.
What is it? Believe the promise. So, this is a contest. Now, this is for a select few of you who want to participate. When I say select few, how many of you are artists? How many of you enjoy drawing, creating? Okay, this is for you. This is your focus. I want to find the best design for a pin for our 2024 camporee. So there's 3 things I want on it. Believe the promise, the name of the camporee, the year, what year is it going to be? And what's the name of our conference? SoCal Pathfinders is the way to put it. So, I'd love to see the state of California incorporated into it, but not required. And send it to Pastor Kevin and I on an 8.5 11 size sheet of paper. Ideally, take a picture of it, and here's the emails. Pathfinder directors, I will send these requirements out, or I'll pass them on to Brenda so she can send them out to each of you. But, Pastor Kevin, I twisted his arm, and the winner will receive a free ticket to Gillette.
Free entrance.
That's about a $200 value. This isn't the full pay trip. This is just the the ticket for the event. So, anyone interested in sending me a design? I'm going to ask that you send them to us by September. Okay? September. Angelica, thanks so much for sharing today.